I just want to bring up a quote from Ruben Amorim. Listen, he loves a little quote or two, doesn't he? But he's saying here, Ruben Amorim, on what he learned since joining Man United. He said it was really hard. It's a completely different reality. I played maybe 7-8 games against English teams in the Champions League and the UEFA Europa League, but to play in the league is completely different. I'll start with you, Marcel, man. What's your feelings right now towards Amorim? Like, it's been tough, but I've seen a lot of people they've changed their mind. You was also, for the first time, I've seen you a bit kind of questioning the manager and his tactic. You said to him, "Can you play a 3-5-2?" I remember you saying it on the channel. Change it to a 3-5-2. I did say to you, he's not going to do that. He's a stubborn guy. He's stubborn. He's stubborn. He's stubborn. Do you believe he's going to change? And if he doesn't change, do you believe you're wasting your time back in the manager? Do you believe you're wasting your time?
If he doesn't change, then I do believe that I'm wasting my time with this manager. Yes. You've obviously told me and many other fans and everyone has really said to me that he's not going to change. He's obviously quoted himself saying that he won't change and even the Pope won't convince him. But I'm Marcel. I'm different from the Pope in more ways than one. And obviously, Ruben himself, in life, we can in one moment in the existence, we are hell bent on something and then something else happens and then we change our mind and we pivot the other way. I think as a manager, you need to develop and grow. He's a very young manager and he will soon see that he needs a plan A or plan B or a way to pivot and change things. And at the beginning of his tenure, we did see him adapt a little bit. We have seen him play 4 at the back. It was Manchester United players that he was doing that with. So, but I do think if he does stay the same, he doesn't have the characteristics to play the way that he wants to in the midfield, and he will get himself sacked. But how I feel about the manager is now that I still want to support him. I believe it's 7 games or 6. No, it's 6 games, 3 losses, 2 wins and a draw. The game against Arsenal could have been different. The game against Fulham could have been different, but the 3 losses have been embarrassing, quite frankly. It's very simple. Against City, embarrassing. Against Brentford, it was very embarrassing. So I do understand the predicament we're in, but I've always said, you have to give a manager the first 10 games. When we're talking at the start of the season, there's still maybe... I believe it's Sunderland, Liverpool, Brighton, and then somebody else.
Sunderland, Liverpool, Brighton, and then Forest, I believe.
Forest, yeah. So 3 of those games are games that are winnable. We're 4 points off 4th, 5th, and 6th position currently. So the turnaround could be very dramatic depending on what happens. And the target for us is 6th or 5th, what everyone would believe. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, he is very stubborn, and I think he could be more brave with the way that he, puts on his subs and all these kind of things. And again, the types of players that he's playing is just, and the position that Yora's not getting minutes right now. Those little things and the way that he wants to play, he needs more creative centre-backs, centre-backs that are going to drive into the opposition's half, that can play on the halfway line, these kind of characteristics. So, and then, it's just been a melting pot of bad things on his behalf and the performances from the players. I mean, if, Bruno looks like he should be off penalties right now, the way he's performing. I can't believe Luke Shaw is someone that said the target's to win the Premier League, and he's been playing rubbish against City, rubbish against Brentford. So I hear that. I hear the comment though. Winnable under Ruben Amorim. Well, he's won 2 football matches this season, and the performance against Fulham and Arsenal, there was periods of play where we played okay. So again, I'm looking towards the Sunderland game at Old Trafford, and I'm expecting a win. And that maybe changes the narrative a little bit and gets us up at the table a little bit more. And then I'm seeing if he can respect Liverpool to a degree where he holds them into a difficult positions and makes the game horrible, and to try and get a result there. And then I'm more positive about the way that we play against Brighton and Nottingham Forest. But just to answer your question again there, Saeed, I'm just there to support the manager right now. Do I want another manager? Is there a better manager out there? There most probably is. I've said already, Iraola or Glasner. Because I think now we've tried and tested those other managers outside the league, new and exciting, and I really would have liked for us to flesh out and to see long periods of Ten Hag under the helm. Obviously, he was going through a down period, but so is this manager as well, and he's a new kind of exciting manager coming into the game. But I think we need somebody that's been in the Premier League, but I'm still currently supporting this manager until the 10 games, and I'll give a proper, judgment on it, whether he should be sacked immediately or not. And that will bring us to the 1st of November, by the way, after the 10 games.
The thing is, right, I would maybe give you the grace here if it was like this was at the start of his tenure and you were given, more time to judge things and whatnot. But we are nearly 1 year in, Marcel. And a lot of what you said is a lot of ifs. What if he does this? And what if we win our game? And what if we get to this? And you've never given me anything towards evidence of what he's shown. I could flip that and say, you know what? The games that we won this season have been very meaty. Burnley game, let's be honest, man. We got away with it towards the end with a penalty. Chelsea game, let's be honest as well. That game, if it's 11v11, it's a different situation, a scenario. Even though we've got a good record, I'll give you that one. But nothing's been convincing from this manager. And that's the issue right now that I've got with your explanation. Yeah, I get it. You want to stick by the manager, but we're not going to learn anything different after 10 games. We're not. But the only thing we're going to learn is that we're getting more losses and we're breaking more records. That's what we're going to learn. Let's be honest. That's all we're going to learn. We're giving ourselves this idea of let's suffer more. But reality is, though, this manager's he's done. And I don't like you've said clearly 3-5-2. If you don't change it, you're getting sacked. He's literally slapping you in the face here and saying to you, Marcel, I'm not changing. I'm not playing the way you want to play. It's going against what you want him to do. But therefore, you're backing him when he's going against what you're trying to say. That's where I believe is wrong in your argument, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I understand. Can I respond to that as well? Because
I agree. Yeah,
so I understand what you're saying. I think I've got to a place now where I'm trying to remove the time frame a little bit, because I feel like there's players in the world that can maybe play the two midfield positions a lot better. But I'm not worried. So, for example, I'm not worried about saving the season. I really want a manager to be able to get hold of this squad, change the players within the squad, and see if they can really develop and push forward. I think the longer time that he gets, the more opportunity he gets to rotate the team in a certain way. Players can perform. The strikers, the 3 new strikers that we've just brought into the football club, have more games together to see if this kind of system works for them, and we get a better picture and understanding of if this manager is good enough with these new adaptations. He is, disregarding what I'm saying in terms of what would be better suited for this squad. Absolutely. I believe that a 4-3-3 formation would be better suited for this squad, or 4-2-3 formation would be better suited for this squad. But I'm trying to envision now a manager staying with maybe not their system, but with ideals and ways of playing, and for it to be successful for a long period of time. I think there is an adaptation period that needs to happen, and I think after 10 period of games we'll be able to see if it really is able to work. I am worried about it, but it's like that. I don't think it's the most important thing right now. We need a manager that's got 24 players following them, then rather if the season's going to be thrown out or not. Because we're going to support Man United regardless, another 50 seasons, 60 seasons, and nobody's bigger than the club. So players like Bruno might need to leave, or should leave for want of a better of the word. So there's all of these things that I'm adding into it as well. But for me, I think I just want to give Ruben a little bit more time. I've always said the first 10 games, and that's what I believe in, to see what the season could bring. And and I'm saying ifs again, but you win against Sunderland, that's another step. That's another step. That's another 3 points, and the table changes. And then we have to see what happens in January in terms of investments to improve what he has in that midfield, what he has in that defense. Because after 10 or so games, we're going to see and look at that, and we all know it now that it's not been enough. The investment has not been enough in key areas. So he's not utilizing the squad to the best of his ability, but I do think that if he had certain players within the Premier League right now, midfielders, Elliot Anderson, Adam Wharton, Baleba, Bruno Guimaraes, there's players that can play this too and bring it to another level. There's players that can play in the defensive line and bring it to another level.
Yeah, but how do you know that he would play them?
Well, I'm hoping that the players like Bruno, like Casemiro, are leaving.
No, bro, I'm just saying, bro. Man are laughing, but I'm being real. Like you said, you just said 2 very contradictory statements. You said he doesn't have XYZ type of player, and then you said, yeah, well, he's not using the squad to the best of his ability. So cool, even if you give them to him, there's no guarantee that he's going to use them the right way anyway.
Yeah, I don't think they're contradicting, because the type of those players are of a certain level that we don't have within the squad at all.
No, but bro, like if you've got a manager that's maxing out the squad and you're like, yo, he needs better. Cool. But he's not maxing out what he has. So you can't even make excuses and say that he deserves better or he needs better. He's not even, bro, until you maximize what you have, you can't be asking for improvements. That don't make no sense, bro. That don't make no sense, bro. Man grew up in an era where man couldn't ask for if man's asking for a new football boots, man's like, what, are your old ones mash up? Because if your old ones ain't mash up, you ain't getting new ones, cuz you know them ones. It's not like, well, what are we doing here?
I don't think the wheels have to fall off to know that the wheels are changing. You can preempt that, and I think that's very good logic.
Say that again. Say that again.
The wheels don't have to fall off, Musa, for you to think, oh, it's time to change them, which is essentially the logic that Rance is trying to bring to me right now. That
no, it's not.
Because he's not maximizing Rance.
What do you mean the wheels don't have to fall off for you to change them?
And you're like, he can get no more.
How do your brain not understand what I'm saying,
bro?
The wheels have, listen, your tires.
When I'm saying, yeah, maximizing, I'm saying, yeah, when you've got a squad and you're looking at them and saying, this guy cannot get any more out of these players, yeah, then you've got something to say. Bruv, there's no player that is playing at their maximum right now under this manager, and you're like, he can't get more out of them. Not one.
Yeah, no, I understand that bit, but what I'm trying to say to you is certain players within this team are not playing to a certain level that other options within the league, you know, and investments. We've said, yeah, without these players that play at any level,
name them. Name your player that wasn't bought in the last 2 windows.
Let me just finish, Musa, and then I'll name the player. So there's, you know, we've said without any sort of investment at the beginning of the window and throughout the window, we need a midfielder. We haven't seen anyone play to any sort of maximum, you know, from the start.
We don't need a midfielder because your manager Amorim said he doesn't want to sell Bruno for 100 million because he's happy with Bruno being his captain. He's happy with Bruno playing in the 6. He's happy with Bruno being in the middle of the field. I don't want 100 million to go out and buy the players that you've just mentioned. I'm comfortable and I'm happy going into the season with a new front three and Bruno as my captain in the middle. And this is where we are. So we get the midfield because Amorim doesn't want it. He had the option. He had the opportunity. He said, no, thank you. I'm keeping my captain. So when it comes to the midfield is something that the fan base wants. It's something that we want. The manager doesn't want that. He had the option. If he gets rid of Bruno, we're not talking about no new midfields because we have the midfield.